Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a mix-up with court records and a cyber attack has led to a surprising twist in the case of Fernando Acosta Jr., who's now set to face trial for the 2021 murder of Amanda Johnson.
A local church's pumpkin patch fundraiser is making a big impact. How their donation is helping the Salvation Army support the community.
Plus, the Texas Senate passes 2 controversial bills that bring religion into public schools, sparking debate over moral values versus religious freedom.
It's hard to believe, but our humidity has dropped down to less than 10%. This is the Arizona dry air rolling into our area this morning after that frontal system, but it still keeps us in fire danger. We'll be talking more about that coming up in a moment.
And tomorrow begins the first round of boys and girls soccer playoffs across the state of Texas. We'll give you all tomorrow's and Friday's matchups coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie.
And I'm Don Brubaker. This is an alert day. Red flaggings all over the crossroads.
Let's go over to Mac Perez for a first look at our forecast. And Mac, this morning took the dog out. It was humid. There was, humidity on things out in the yard, and then all of that changed.
Yeah, there was maybe 10 drops that fell over our area. The front came through about 9 o'clock. Then the dry air rolled in right behind it, and then our humidity just dropped off the table. Big storm in the Midwest. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. But for us right now, you got to look at this. Unbelievable. 2%, 11%, 5%. We don't see this kind of dry air around this area. That's the good news. The bad news is it's still we stay on high fire danger. In fact, you can see how pretty much all of the southwestern portion of the state is in this completely dry atmosphere. Red flag warnings continue for today and will likely continue for tomorrow. If not a red flag, it'll only be a fire weather watch, so because of the winds slowly coming down. We'll talk a lot more about that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you, Donna.
Well, Calhoun County is now under a burn ban. Due to that ban in place and limited holding space, the Olivia Hatterius Park brush pile will also be temporarily closed until further notice. Absolutely no dumping at this time, and no outdoor burning is allowed until county commissioners rescind the ban.
A Yocum man is charged with aggravated robbery. 17-year-old Kayla Mraz is accused of a robbery March 12th in the 400 block of Neiman Street. Mraz turned himself in at the Yocum Police Department headquarters. He's in the DeWitt County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond. A man facing a charge in Wharton County is arrested on a human smuggling charge. 21-year-old Jose Mena of Mercedes was arrested at the 23rd District Court in Wharton. He was there for a court date for a different charge. Then authorities found he had an active warrant on a human smuggling charge out of Hidalgo County. Mena is in the Wharton County Jail. No bond is set.
Nearly 4 years after a Victoria mother of 2 was reported missing, later found in her burned SUV, the case against her accused killer is moving to trial. 25
News Now reporter Ray Mosley is at the Matagorda County Courthouse where the latest hearing in the case was held.
Fernando Acosta Jr. was set to have a pretrial hearing today at the Matagorda County Courthouse at 9 a.m. But apparently both sides held that hearing late last month, and the case is now set to go to trial. Online court records show that the hearing was set for today, but the county website is still under construction after a cyber attack several weeks ago, so the court date was not updated. The district attorney says the computer hack did not affect the Fernando Acosta Jr. case. Acosta is accused of killing Amanda Johnson. On April 18th, 2021, her remains were found in a burned-out SUV in Matagorda County. This murder trial was reset several times, and now, almost 4 years later, Acosta will have his day in court Monday, April 7th. Amanda Johnson was a single mother of 2. She worked at a health club and previously worked as an elementary teacher at Victoria ISD. She was just 38 years old. In Matagorda County, Ray Mosley, KAVU-TV, 25 News Now.
The Salvation Army of Victoria got a major donation from a local church. First United Methodist Church of Victoria donated $1,500 from their annual pumpkin patch. One of the church's board members heard about the great work the Salvation Army does. It's the first time the pumpkin patch has made a donation to the Salvation Army. They donated around $16,000 to 11 Victoria County nonprofit organizations last year. Anyone who requested money got money from the pumpkin patch.
I myself have sat in the pumpkin patch waiting for the great pumpkin. He did not come, but I saw the Lord over there and what they're doing. So they have done magnificent things for us.
First United Methodist Church has hosted the pumpkin patch for 32 years. It starts the first weekend of October and runs the rest of that month. The pumpkins are raised by the Navajo Nation in New Mexico. The church also donates pumpkins to the Texas Zoo and to area farmers.
The Texas Senate passes 2 bills pushing religion into public schools. One requires classrooms to display the 10 Commandments, while the other sets aside time for student prayer. Supporters say it promotes moral values, but critics argue it favors Christianity and threatens religious freedom. Republican lawmakers cite court rulings backing their case, while opponents, including faith leaders, warn it could divide communities. And this brings us to our viewer poll today. Do Senate Bills 10 and 11 promote religious freedom, or do they violate it? We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And a 60-40 split right now. 60% of you feel that these bills promote religious freedom. 40% feel that it violates religious freedom. Continue voting. We'll have the latest results on 25 News Now at 10.
The Texas Senate passes a hemp ban. It's a priority bill for Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He says the measure will shut down the dangerous THC products business. The backers of the THC ban, approved by the Texas Senate, said they support an expansion of the medical marijuana program in the state. Senate Bill 3 would outlaw products with any amount of THC, ranging from gummies and beverages to vapes and flower buds, sold at more than 8,300 locations around Texas. Texas' first abortion arrests come after a month-long investigation by Attorney General Ken Paxton. These represent the first criminal charges under Texas' near-total abortion ban. 2 people were arrested and charged with performing illegal abortions at a Houston area health clinic. The Texas Tribune reports Maria Rojas was arrested after an investigation into her practices spanned more than a month and involved more than a dozen people with the Office of the Attorney General. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. Traffic at the Port of Lavaca Point Comfort continued to tick up in February, and Calhoun County area Go Texan won quilt awards at the Houston Livestock Show. You can read these stories and more at portlavacawave.com.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell to receive alerts. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6. New rules could make collecting Social Security harder. Why some say it's part of a bigger plan.
Also ahead, the Trump administration says its economic strategy is working, but some Americans are not so sure.
A federal judge temporarily restores funding for 3 clean energy nonprofits after the Trump administration cut their grants. The organizations Climate United Fund, Coalition for Green Capital, and Power Forward Communities claimed the administration launched a baseless investigation to stop their funding. Judge Tanya Chutkan ruled the administration did not provide evidence or details on the investigation. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin previously called the funding program criminal and pushed to recover the billions awarded. If you're someone who collects Social Security benefits, the agency says you'll no longer be able to handle certain account services by phone starting later this month. It says calls make up about 40% of direct deposit fraud.
Well, critics worry the real goal is to chip away at Social Security itself.
They can essentially interfere with your ability to get your Social Security check that you've earned.
New rules could make it more complicated for some people to collect their Social Security benefits. The Trump administration says they're aimed at reducing fraud.
By tackling the waste and fraud in entitlements like Social Security, Medicare, can we actually preserve those programs for the future?
One rule, starting March 31st, requires people who can't prove their identity online to visit a field office. Another bars beneficiaries from changing their bank account information by phone, starting March 29th. Those changes come as the agency is closing some field offices and trying to reduce its workforce by about 12%.
Presumably they want people with disabilities to now walk in to some Social Security office, although they're cutting back on these Social Security offices all over this country.
Online services will still be available, but many people who collect Social Security benefits are seniors.
It bugs the crap out of me, but my mom uses the damn landline, and that's how she does things.
President Donald Trump and Republican lawmakers promise they will not cut Social Security.
We're going to love and cherish Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
But critics argue
These are not coincidental happenings. There is a design behind this, and it is to try to make these programs die on the vine.
I'm Mimi Kiley reporting.
The Pentagon is considering making big cuts to the top of the U.S. military as the Trump administration seeks to shrink the federal government. Plans under consideration include consolidating combatant commands, possibly eliminating a directorate that oversees development, training, and education for the joint force, halting the expansion of U.S. forces in Japan, and merging the European and Africa commands into a single command based in Stuttgart, Germany. The Federal Reserve today decided to keep interest rates steady amid economic uncertainty.
That means the cost to borrow money for things like auto loans and mortgages isn't changing, though the Fed is signaling relief may come later this year. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the latest from Washington.
Today, the Federal Reserve is holding interest rates at around 4.5%, unchanged from its last rate cut in December.
Given where we are, we think our policy is in a good place to react to what comes, and we think that the right thing to do is to wait here for greater clarity about what the economy is doing.
The decision comes as President Trump's announcements on tariffs sent the stock market into turmoil, stoked fears of a recession, and complicated the Fed's approach. Interest rates, which affect how much it costs to take out a loan, spiked as the economy recovered from COVID in 2022. They have since dropped slowly, and the administration argues the economy overall is good.
This week, we've seen sort of an explosion in home construction. We saw industrial production go to the highest level ever.
The Trump administration has touted its agenda to bolster American manufacturing and oil production, today meeting with top oil industry executives. On tariffs, the president has vowed they will be good for Americans and its economy long term. But some soon-to-be retirees, like this woman in Georgia, are less confident.
When financial advisors tell you, don't worry about it, just hang on, things will come back. Yes, they're going to go down, but they're going to come back. Well, when you're 70 years old, how long do you have to wait?
The Fed cut interest rates 1% last year. They're expected to make cuts again later this year. Their next opportunity to do so is in May. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection data shows there have been many more egg products seized at U.S. borders than the number of seizures of fentanyl so far in fiscal year 2025. The data shows there have been over 400 drug seizure events involving fentanyl in fiscal year 2025. Meanwhile, there have been almost 6,000 egg product interceptions so far this fiscal year. CBP said most of the egg product interceptions were because people were unaware that they could not bring eggs across the border. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Currie Record. DeWitt County Commissioners approved a land purchase in Yorktown for a new building to be used by the Precinct 2 Justice of the Peace. And the Currie Lady Gobbler basketball team is honored by the Currie City Council. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
We are looking at the beautiful sunshine that we have out there. I don't know if you noticed, but the humidity has dropped down to well, Tucson, Arizona. I mean, it's less than 20%, less than 10% in some spots. The problem is that keeps us on the high fire danger. The sunshine will be good. It's just the wind and the humidity that's the problem. We'll talk more about it coming up after this. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's 80 degrees out there. You might have enjoyed the low humidity. It's rare that we get humidity this low down here, but of course everything changed with that front that came through. We got up to 83 this afternoon. 66 was the morning low. It's going to be cooler tonight now that a northwest wind is in control. Here's the front. It's all the way out here. It started off out in central Texas, then blew through our area. There were a few little raindrops here and there, not much, just enough to get your car dirty. And then, of course, it's dirty air. It's got dust in it that it blew all the way from West Texas down into our area. So now what we're doing is looking at very low humidities, winds, fortunately, that are decreasing, but we still continue with the high fire danger. Now, meanwhile, the center of that storm is rolling through the Midwest. You can see right about here, this is snow on the back side of it. And on the front side of it, just moving into Chicago right now, some vicious thunderstorms. These are all going to be big storms tonight. And all this is a tornado watch and then a severe thunderstorm watch beyond that. So it's going to be the upper Midwest having problems. This is the map that I had to clean my eyes and make sure. Are you kidding me? That we have 9%. 5%, 7% humidity. That is completely arid, dry air. Of course, it's all of not only the coastal bend, but all of West Texas. Look at that, 6% humidity in Rock Springs. So this is unusual for us to have this kind of low humidity, but it all came in behind that storm. The red flag warnings continue for today. Now, tomorrow, the winds may be a little less. As a result, it may not be a red flag warning, but it's going to be a fire weather watch. So it doesn't matter what the wind speed is. We should all continue to do whatever you're doing to be very careful with any kind of thing that looks like flame outdoors, because if it gets going, this is going to be tough to stop. So fire weather warnings and wind advisories for the crossroads, for the coastal areas because of the offshore winds. The thing is that tomorrow, while we do settle the winds down, they're also going to turn back around. In fact, by the time we get to Thursday night, you can see how they're slowly coming back. And by Friday, they'll be coming back onshore. In fact, Friday, well, Thursday still, and Friday were very good looking days. In fact, this weekend's going to be quite spectacular to be outdoors. except for the fire danger. So let's take a look at our winds. There they are, blowing offshore and blowing. They were strong early this morning, but they are settling down as the storm continues to move away. The pressure pattern sort of evens out and it gets less windy, but that is the big storm. Out here you can see another storm front coming through. That front will be here sometime Sunday night with a glimmer of hope of a chance for any kind of precipitation. Looking at our lows tonight, getting down to 44. That's 20 degrees cooler than it was this morning, so you might feel that nip in the air in the morning hours, but that's not too bad. And tomorrow, 10 degrees cooler because of that north wind coming in. That's fairly comfortable as well. So a very good looking day. It's just the humidity and the lack of any kind of moisture. Here's that powerful storm that's finally rolling that way, and we'll watch and wait for that next one to come into our region. Maybe give us a bit of a break, or a cloud. One cloud would be really nice, you know. Sunny skies, northerly winds, getting up to 73 tomorrow, Port Lavaca. Other than the fire danger, it's going to be really pretty. Looking at Cuero, lots of sun, northerly winds, getting up to about 75 as well. So comfortable temperatures, comfortable humidities. But we have to put up the alert day because there's a fairly good chance we'll have another red flag warning for tomorrow. And then the weekend, well, we warm back up into the mid 80s. And then there's that little front, 20% chance, wow, Sunday night, Monday morning, of getting anything that might look like a little precipitation. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. If you scan that, you can put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Shawna.
All right, thank you, Mac. Now we send it over to Max Williams with a look at what he has coming up in sports.
Yeah, Shawna, after the break, Tidehaven women's basketball gets more awards from this past season. I'll tell you who won coming up in sports. All right, happy Wednesday here, Crossland. Tomorrow night, we begin the bi-district round playoffs for girls and boys soccer all across here, the Crossroads and the state of Texas. And again, all the matchups have been finalized now. We're going to start here with the girls in 4A. The Calhoun Sand Crabs are going to be facing the Needville Blue Jays there tomorrow night at 8 p.m. there at Rice Consolidated. Then the Bay City Lady Cats, after finishing off a great regular season, they're going to be facing the Brazosport Exporters at Friday. That game's going to be at 6 p.m. there at Hopper Stadium. That's in Freeport, Texas. Then for the Hallettsville Lady Brahmas in the playoffs, they're going to be facing the Columbia Roughnecks. That game's going to be tomorrow night at 6 p.m. So that game will be going on just as we're on there tomorrow night at El Campo High School. And speaking of El Campo, the Lady Birds are going to be they're in the playoffs. They're facing the Sweeney Bulldogs. They're going to be playing at Bay City. So El Campo, you have Hallettsville playing in El Campo, and then you're going to have El Campo playing at Bay City. All rivalries going on playing at different stadiums. But that's going to be there at 5:30 though there at Memorial Stadium. Then for East and West, they're both playing at Warden High School, with West playing first versus the Waltrip Rams there at 5:30 p.m. and East is going to follow playing around 7:15, 7:30 Rams there in Wharton. But over to the men's playoffs, we only have 4 teams in our area making the playoffs. First there in 4A, Bay City, Calhoun, and El Campo are all moving there to go into the playoffs there in first round action. For Bay City, they're going to be facing Fort Bend Willow Ridge. That's a Friday night at 8 p.m. So that'll be concluding after the women's game there for Bay City. They're also there at Hopper Stadium in Freeport as well. For El Campo, they're going to be facing Stafford Spartans at Bay City Memorial Stadium right after the girls play as well. They're at 7:15 and 7:30. And then for Calhoun, they're facing Alameda Crawford at Crawford High School there in Rocheron, Texas at 6 p.m. there tomorrow night. Then for Victoria West, the only one there, Victoria East did not make the playoffs there, unfortunately. They're going to be facing Spring Woods Tigers there. That'll be a Friday night game at 6 p.m. at Bay City Memorial Stadium. But now over to track and field, where a couple days ago we highlighted the Calhoun track relays and the Hallettsville Lady Brahmas, who did really well in the Brahma relays last week. Well, also the Hallettsville boys track and team also did well. They actually broke a record in the 4x100 meter relay. Again, that record was back a couple years back, so props up there for the Hallettsville men's team breaking that record there in track and field. But over to some more awards. How about there for Tidehaven there in women's basketball? Got some big time honors there this past season. Again, Mary Johnson keeps adding more awards to her hardware. She got named to the Texas Girls Association All-State Team along with teammate Naomi Alameda. These two girls were crucial for the success for Tidehaven this season. Congrats again to both of these two Lady Tigerettes. Now over to some Wednesday night softball, where the Refugio Lady Cats facing the Yorktown Wildcats at Refugio High School. The game did start at 5 p.m., so later on tonight I'll give you a final score and see what that is later at 25 News Now at 10. And again, a couple days ago we revealed the field of 68 for March Madness, which will start up tomorrow. And before that, though, we want you to take part. Play along in our Final Four Frenzy contest on www.crossroadstoday.com/entertainment/Final Four Frenzy. Again, got a couple entries right now, trying to see if we can get a little bit more, because they do close at Thursday at 11 a.m. Again, submit your picks in, because the winner will get a family 4-pack to Moody Gardens, which includes aquarium, rainforest pyramids, a 3D/4D audience recognition theaters, 1-night hotel stay, and 2 rounds of golf. Big time award right there again. See, so if you want to get in, you got till 11 a.m. tomorrow. And speaking of March Madness, well, we still got games here tonight, because the Texas Longhorns are facing the Xavier Musketeers in the first 4 matchup in Dayton, Ohio. The game's going to start around 8:10, 8:20 range. So Texas, if they win, they're going to face Illinois in the first round. That game's going to be at Friday at 8:45 p.m. local time. And Don and Shawna, I mean, hey, I know, Don, you're a Houston Cougars fan. Shawna, you're a Texas fan right there. I don't know. Hopefully they can get the win. Do you guys think that's going to happen, or not so sure?
I have faith in my team.
I think they'll win tonight. Second round, I think UT can win that too. You know, Illinois. I mean, I think UT can win it. That's what I feel. But anyway,
we'll see.
That's right. Max, thank you, and we're back in a moment. A Dallas 4th grader understood the assignment from her teacher, who is a Duran Duran super fan. Finally tonight, a fourth grader from Dallas is living her teacher's dream. 4 decades later, Miriam Osborne emphasizes storytelling in her classroom. She is a huge Duran Duran fan. So when Ava Meyer went on vacation to London, she got an assignment from Osborne. The assignment was to find Duran Duran. Ava's mom searched for an address. They found one, went to the home, knocked on the door. Oh my God. Duran Duran lead singer Simon Le Bon answered the door. Ava got a picture taken with Le Bon. Assignment completed.
Wow.
His teacher's probably pretty jealous.
I was going to say,
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
great assignment. And again, how about that?
And they just looked it up on the computer and found it. But they were warned that it was kind of a rough neighborhood, a lot of wild boys. So,
Good one there. Yeah, that's a good one, Don. I do.
Thank you.
Wow.
You know what is really wild when I saw your map of the humidities and I saw Refugio's humidity, 0%.
It's unbelievable. I'm having trouble talking because it's so dry. You may also feel that as the very dry air has rolled into the area. This is like unusually dry. This is the Arizona desert stuff. But we're going to be still in the red flag warning because of the low humidity. Now tomorrow, really a nice day, lots of sun, getting only up to 74, but watch out for the winds and be careful with the fire.
Absolutely. Mag, thank you. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.